Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Space stuff. Preemptive like, preemptive sub. Science time, Brian Cox. Love him. I really, really hope this doesn't get copyrighted or anything because I want to get. I love learning. I love learning about a lot of things. Okay, philosophy stuff. I love to talk about like mental health stuff, not like therapy, but more just evolution. I love just like animal documentaries in general and just space stuff in general. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm really interested in that I haven't made a lot of videos on, mostly because the videos on like science videos don't tend to get nearly as many views or comments input on them as like the history and comedy videos and stuff like that. I hope that'll change in the future. Regardless, I love learning about it. Gonna record this. Let's go. Original link to the video, top of the description. Discord below that. Alien would love to have you. Alien life and the dark forest hypothesis. Like Fermi paradox stuff. Let's go.
It's a triple, no, quadruple system. It's beautiful.
So aliens. So we're looking for aliens on the surface of Mars now. There's a rover called Perseverance, which is on an ancient river delta in what we know was an ancient lake, and it's drilling down to take samples to try and find evidence that life existed there, because there was water and all the things that we think are necessary for life. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are aliens below the surface of Mars, right? Martian microbes. We've got one called Europa Clipper. They're going to launch to Jupiter's moon Europa. That's a frozen moon, about the same size as our moon, but it's ice. The whole surface is ice. And below the surface, there's water, salt water, sodium chloride in the water. And there's more water in there than all the oceans of the Earth combined, about 3 times as much. And so that's a candidate for life. And so we send in a space.
Question. Just because water is extremely crucial to life, all life on Earth, does that mean that some other molecule or just some other could an animal develop on another planet, life develop where it something other than water is its crucial source of life? So is looking for places with water. I really do you know what I mean? Like, could water not be that important to other aliens just because it's important to us? Anyone?
Spacecraft to look for life, 3 times as much. And so that's a candidate for life, and so we send in a spacecraft to look for life. So it's not bonkers to suggest that life may have begun somewhere else other than Earth, right, that we're looking for in the solar system. But what is really worrying observation to me, actually, is that we've looked a bit for radio signals and we look out for signs of anything out there in our galaxy, intelligence, and we don't see anything at all. And astronomers call it the Great Silence. It's kind of an ominous name, because it seems there's so many planets, 20 billion potentially Earth-like planets in the Milky Way. You think there's loads of room and loads of time, so there should be things out there, but we don't see anything. And the explanation probably, if indeed that's true, is biology. It's just, if you look at the history of life on Earth, it took nearly 4 billion years from the first cell to a civilization. 4 billion years, nearly. That's a third of the age of the universe.
Right.
I think the best guess is that we're so incredibly fortunate to be here, because it's just that ask that you say, I want a planet to support an unbroken chain of life through all this violence in the universe, an unbroken chain of life for 4 billion years, in order to get to something like you and me, right? Collections of atoms that can think. I think it's just really unlikely. It's terrifying and also kind of uplifting in a way, isn't it? Because it means that we're unbelievably valuable.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. That quote, like, there's either tons of aliens or no aliens, and both are equally terrifying. I disagree. I think tons of aliens is a little more terrifying than no aliens, and we're the first one. I get why. It's like, oh my God, so rare. We're all alone, right? But for all we know, we could be in the extreme beginning stages of the universe. You know, it's 14 billion years, something like that, right? Well, what if the universe goes on for hundreds, trillions of years, right? So, honestly, finding out that we're the only, if we just knew somehow that we are the only life forms that are able to kind of look, that have made it this far and are able to like observe the universe itself. Well, what if that means that like we are destined to be the ones to be the start of a bunch of different aliens everywhere if we go far enough to where we can actually like plant life on Mars once we make it better, or even, you know, are able to go out the solar system to another and find suitable planets and create life there, and so on and so on. It take obviously, you know, thousands and thousands of years just to go to a few different solar systems if you have the technology. But that's kind of like exciting, if to me. Am I crazy? Because like, wow, like, so we could be the form of life that other forms of life way in the future can be like, they are the ones who started sort of interstellar insemination of different worlds that eventually would be. Does that make sense?
As a species and a planet. It could be. We're the only island of meaning in an ocean of 400 billion suns.
The search for extraterrestrial life has captivated human imagination for centuries. From ancient mythology to modern science, we've always looked up at the stars and wondered, are we alone? With technological advancements, our ability to explore the universe has increased, and the possibility of finding alien life seems closer than ever before. But despite years of searching...
Why do they always have them? I don't get it. And it's like, why? What are the chances that in another intelligent life form that developed not just in a different environment, but on a different planet happens to have a mouth sort of where our mouth is, a nose, two nostrils like we have? You're telling me it has two eyes just like that, and a brain right here, and fingers and hands that like... I feel like, think of the most alien-looking animal that evolved on Earth, like an octopus or a cockroach or just an anglerfish. Well, something that developed on another planet that we're not even related to is going to look insanely more different to us than anything on Earth, than a spider. And this is like, really? It's that much? It evolved to look that closely to us?
Alien life seems closer than ever before. But despite years of searching, we have yet to discover definitive proof of life beyond Earth. However, recent discoveries of exoplanets, some of which are potentially habitable, offer tantalizing hints that we may not be alone after all.
You go back 15 years or so, 20 years, we only knew of our solar system, so it's possible to believe all those stars in the sky were just stars we didn't know. But now we've discovered over 1,000 planets out there around stars. The remarkable thing, Kepler has been looking at a little piece of sky to do a kind of a survey, a tiny piece of sky, and it found 6 Earth-like planets. So these are rocky planets in the right zone around the star, so the temperature's right, so there could be oceans and rivers. And if you just then extend that over the entire sky, the number now people are talking about is 20 billion Earth-like planets that could harbour life in the Milky Way. 20,000 million other Earths.
Despite the discovery of many Earth-like planets in the Milky Way, we have yet to find any definitive evidence of alien life.
Like you said earlier, that the amount of time it took to form life and conscious life on a planet took the 4 billion year history of that planet being in the goal. Or if you want to say it took, a billion years, 1.5 billion to go from the first life forms to us on Earth. Well, what if there are millions of other planets that have life, but it never got out of like it never got to the conscious stage, to where the coolest thing about us that I know for a fact, and it's awesome, is that we are proof that the universe is capable, and every atom in the universe is capable over time of creating something, of creating something to understand itself. It's like it's like, are we not proof that the universe has, that we are part of we are the universe thinking of itself? Am I going crazy here? Like, the universe has developed a way to have life and eventually evolved into a species like ours to study itself. That is mind-blowing.
Some theories suggest that we may not be looking in the right places, or that the conditions for life are more complex than we originally thought. Others speculate that intelligent civilizations may be intentionally avoiding contact with us. When the realization sets in that there are close to infinite alien worlds with conditions similar to Earth, it's hard to fathom that not even one other civilization's signature has been detected. This enigma remains one of the greatest mysteries of the cosmos, leaving us yearning for answers.
This has got a name called the Fermi paradox, after the physicist Enrico Fermi. Because now, 20 billion.
Where are the aliens?
The galaxy's been around for almost the entire age of the universe, 13 billion years. Why we haven't seen evidence of another civilization?
The Fermi paradox questions the absence of extraterrestrial life despite the vastness of the universe and the septillions of stars in it. The Great Filter hypothesis suggests that there is a barrier that prevents civilizations from advancing past a certain point, causing them to become extinct. But what if the barrier is ahead of us? This brings us to the dark forest hypothesis, which posits that
Before we get into that, isn't a Fermi paradox sort of the survivor bias? It's like, we created life. Like I said earlier, how do we not know that it takes 200 billion years with the odds to have not only life, but evolved to the point of intelligence of us to think about it and then develop interstellar travel or a means to communicate? I feel like that sort of explains a lot of it, right? If life is so rare, then obviously an alien would be interested in us, right? So yeah, how do we know that we're not just in the infant stages?
Civilizations remain silent and hidden.
I'm talking way too much. Sorry, I'm excited.
Which persists that intelligent civilizations remain silent and hidden, much like animals in a dark forest, for fear of being discovered and eliminated by other more powerful and advanced civilizations. This chilling possibility forces us to consider that perhaps the universe is not the welcoming place we may have thought it was. The dark forest hypothesis
Whoever thought it
proposes
was.
that intelligent civilizations are engaged in a cosmic game of hide and seek, where every civilization is both the seeker and the hider. In this game, revealing oneself could lead to the destruction of the civilization by other, more advanced civilizations. Therefore, staying silent and hidden is the most logical and safe option. This hypothesis suggests that the universe is not a friendly place.
Screw that. Let's gamble. Gamble it. All right. That
but rather a place where every civilization is competing for resources and survival. It implies that the reason we have not yet discovered any extraterrestrial life is that every civilization is hiding in a cosmic dark forest. But maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves and life is far more ubiquitous and less mysterious than we think, at least as far as simple forms of life goes, such as microbes.
I wouldn't be surprised to find that life had existed on Mars, perhaps even still may subsurface. But I would be very surprised if it were anything other than single-celled at best. But the question is about aliens, about civilizations. We don't know. We've looked a bit. We have the SETI program. We've heard nothing. Astronomers have a term for it. They call it the Great Silence. But it is possible. The biologists I talk to tend to say, if you look at the history of life on Earth, then it seems clear that for around, let's say, 3 billion years or so after the origin of of life, around 3.8 billion years ago, up to less than a billion years ago, it was single cell. And complex multicellular life is a relatively recent development. So on Earth, we had about 4 billion years to go from the origin of life to a civilization. And if that is in any way typical, and we don't know, then the astronomers will tell you that perhaps there aren't so many worlds that have stayed stable enough for long enough for that process to continue. We don't know. There's a key point here that it is at least conceivable that worlds like this are very rare, in the sense that there's a very complex ecosystem, a civilization, intelligence. You can make an argument that there could be, on average, one per galaxy.
But what if there is more than just one civilization per galaxy? The possibility of multiple intelligent civilizations existing in our galaxy opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. What if they are trying to contact us, but we're not listening? One solution to the Fermi paradox suggests that the lack of evidence of extraterrestrial life is due to the vast distances between civilizations. But what if we're just not paying attention? The WOW signal is a prime example of a potential contact from another civilization that we may have missed.
A radio telescope called the Big Ear detected a radio signal from somewhere in the vicinity of the constellation Sagittarius. And this is the printout from that night. It was a pulse. The peak brightness was over 30 times the brightness of the background radio emission from the galaxy. That's the wavelength of light, of radio waves emitted from hydrogen atoms. So the whole sky glows at that wavelength. And back in the 1950s, radio astronomers speculated that if an alien civilization wanted to communicate with us, then they might well choose that very special natural wavelength to send their message. So surprising was this, that when it was spotted a few days later by an astronomer called Jerry Amon, he circled that pulse, a 72-second flash of radio waves, and wrote WOW next to it. So this has become known as the WOW signal.
Blink and you might miss it, but the universe is constantly sending signals our way, from the hum of stars to the crackle of black holes. We're surrounded by electromagnetic activity. But what if some of those signals weren't just random cosmic noise? What if they were messages from intelligent civilizations far beyond our own? That's the question at the heart of the Breakthrough Listen initiative, a team of scientists using AI to search for technosignatures from other planets in our galaxy. It's not an easy task. The universe is a chaotic, noisy place, and separating out potential alien signals from all the other background noise is like finding a needle in a cosmic haystack. But that's where AI comes in. By training machines to recognize patterns, we can sift through vast amounts of data in search of that elusive extraterrestrial message. And it's working. In fact, the latest breakthrough comes from a student at the University of Toronto who developed a machine learning algorithm that can filter out the most promising technosignature candidates.
I want to give a quick diagram at the end, by the way.
Just recently, the algorithm detected 8 very suspicious radio signals, opening up a whole new realm of possibilities in the search for alien life. As we continue to search the skies, listen for the faintest whisper of alien technology, one thing becomes clear. The universe is vast, mysterious, and full of surprises. Who knows what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? So keep your ears open, and your mind even more so, because the next message we receive might just change everything we think we know about the cosmos.
Great video. So let me just set like what I'm trying to say here, okay? So that's supposed to be a straight line there, okay? That's a timeline, okay? So here's the Big Bang, beginning of the universe, right? And say that, you know, okay, hold on. No, hold on. Oh, crap. Hold on, let me do it this way. So, shoot, hold on. Crap. Shoot. Give me a second. So, what if, you know, here's the timeline of the universe, here's the present, right? Now, and then B, okay? Here's the Big Bang, and then here's now. And that's about, what, like 14 billion years, right? So this is my question. is, so this is still the Big Bang, okay? But what if, say it's like 200 billion years, okay? Say it's 200 billion years, okay? So 186 billion years in the future, okay? And say the universe is still going on, and at like a bunch of life developed, and like here's us, right? At like 14 billion. And what if we're like, it's been 14 billion years. Brian Cox said himself that, you know, it took the Earth is around 4 billion years old, and it took that long for a planet to develop in the Goldilocks zone, get water, and 4 billion years to go from that to us. And we're like, where is everyone? Well, if it took a third of the time, what if we're like super lucky and 14 billion years after the Big Bang is super crazy soon for intelligent life to develop? And so how do we know we're not just in the early stages? And we're like, where is everyone? When, you know, survivor's bias, it's like, how do we know that this isn't so rare? And it usually takes like, you know, 30, 100 billion, whatever years. And we're the first. And what's kind of exciting about that, if we are the first, is that we have the head start. Hopefully we survive long enough and to be that kind of first colonizer and be able to kind of prop up other species. And when those species, like 15 billion years later, are like, how the heck did life form? Well, it with the aid of you know what I mean? Like, how do we not know we're just super soon in the universe lifespan? And we're like, where is everyone? Where it's just like, yeah, like life, you know, a bunch of times here. Does that make sense? Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry, I paused a lot, but I'd really appreciate any comments. Thank you if you watched all the way through, and I will see you guys next time. I know I talked a lot. Some of what I said could have been nonsense. Point it out. Go ahead. Bye, guys.